You all know bosses at this point. They're a barrier different from normal enemies, either to oppose a challenge, make the player feel good for beating a rare enemy, or both. They're a normal part of video games. At this point there must be more video game bosses than people in China. However, from time to time a boss stands out from the rest, either for good or bad reasons. They become more acknowledged. A genre that uses bosses pretty commonly is action games. And how many action games are as well known and recognized as the Devil May Cry series, especially Devil May Cry 3, highly regarded as one of the best action games ever created and the best DMC game. Well, at least until DMC 5 came out. The game of course has a lot of bosses, but there's one that stands out. To be fair, of course he was going to stand out, after all he's the main villain. Of course I'm talking about Arkham. I mean, come on, his boss fight is so terrible. Now seriously, of course I'm talking about Vergil. Unlike the other bosses, you'll have to face Vergil 3 times in the game and he is also the final boss. But why do I think he is one of the best bosses ever? Let's explore it. First of all, Vergil is an excellent rival for Dante. To not waste too much time with this, the Digital Dream Club made a great video about the details of Vergil and other game rivals, so check him out. So the character is great and a boss is Dante, but what about the boss fights? You fight Vergil 3 times during the game. This is like Devil May Cry 1, where you fight Nero Angelo, Griffon and Nightmare 3 times. A lot of people complain about this because it feels like the game is just rehashing the bosses and yeah. But they also acquire more moves as the fight progresses, just like Dante, and are fought in different arenas until the final confrontation with them. DMC3 does this, but only with Vergil, well, Jester too, but he is optional so he doesn't count. This time it doesn't feel like they're rehashing him because there are already many other bosses. They're just using him because they want to. It also does the same thing as Nero Angelo, where Dante loses the first fight, establishing that Dante will need to fight better in the cutscenes to win. But this time it's really clear that Vergil is holding back in the gameplay. In his first fight he doesn't use his Devil Trigger and his Judgment Cut isn't as aggressive. Basically in the first fight, if you play perfectly, it still feels like you're only winning because Vergil isn't going full serious. By the way, this isn't a criticism to DMC1. If you play perfectly, it can be interpreted as Dante underestimating his opponent for a second, and Angelo taking advantage of that, but I still think it works better than in 3. Even then, it's unlikely to defeat Vergil easily at the first time, so it works for new players and experienced ones. Oh, and when I was writing this video I found an interesting theory about why Dante loses the first fight, and it goes like this. If you see closely, it seems like Vergil is more powerful than Dante, not just in skill but also in strength. But after Dante awakens his Devil Trigger, he actually manages to defeat Vergil in strength. And after that, when he awakens again, he hits this statue and then he seems surprised to break it so easily. So it could be like the Devil Trigger gives them a strength boost or something, and that's why he is able to keep up with Vergil in the second fight, unlike the first one. However, in DMC1 you did win the second fight, and the stakes for the third one is that now Angelo knows who he is and is fighting with full strength. However, in DMC3 Dante doesn't defeat Vergil. They're interrupted, but Dante seems at the level of Vergil in this fight, so he is getting better. And in the third fight you still haven't defeated him, so this is your last chance. It basically takes what was good from DMC1 but uses it better and less. So what about the fights themselves? We all know how the game teases Vergil. The first mini-boss can be quite hard the first time, and then Vergil defeats it so quickly that without slow motion we can't see it. For how many levels you spend in the Devon Negru Tower, you might think that getting to the top is the endgame. But you get there and there he is, in the top of the tower, standing there, menacingly. The first time I watched the foolishness Dante, I thought this was the final boss for the arena. Until here, characters react in different ways to Dante's cockiness. Some get annoyed by it, others don't let him talk, but Vergil seems almost expecting it. In fact, he replies but taunting him back.
You showed up.
You sure know how to throw a party. No food, no drinks, and the only babe just left.
My sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations for the bash.
Whatever. At any rate, it's been a whole year since we last met. How about a kiss from your little brother? Or better yet, how about a kiss from this?
It shows that these two really know each other. Oh, and his intro with the music is so sick.
Warming family reunion, eh?
You got that right.
Come on, man.
The first time I fought him here, I died quite a few times. In fact, I had to use a yellow orb to beat him. Where do I start? His animations are really good. His normal combo reflects really well his fighting style in the cutscenes, throwing his sword as little as possible, or this attack where he cuts so quick you can't see it, or this one where he makes a bunch of coats, then encapsulates them in a bubble and sends it to you or something. For what came after in the series, I'm going to pretend this is magic. When you try to hit Vergil, he normally blocks you, which is something you probably learned to do with Agni and Gudra. If you try to shoot him, he'll swing his sword so fast that he will block all the bullets. The only moments where you can attack Vergil is when he fails an attack. Here he is vulnerable and you can do combos on him. A problem some of the bosses have is that many times it's not safe to do a combo, so you'll feel discouraged to try, but Vergil is more clear, so you can do as many combos as you want as long as he's staggered. In fact, you'll need it for how much health he has. But it is also well balanced because you can't stagger him after his rapid slash, which is the attack he normally does after blocking. It is the perfect balance between offense and defense. In the end of the battle, Vergil's hair gets wet, showing that Dante and Vergil's mothers are identical. It's a neat detail. For how much build-up there was for Vergil, the fight absolutely paid off. Every major boss gives you something when you win. Cerberus gave you the Cerberus, Agni and Gudra gave you Agni and Gudra, and after the humiliation Dante unlocks his Devil Trigger. Playing the game I wondered what happened to the Devil Trigger. In the first one you get it in mission 2, and in 2 you get it immediately. So fighting Vergil is what gives you one of the most iconic abilities in Devil May Cry, which adds to remembering the fight. On a side note, I think it's pretty cool that they gave Vergil the Yamato, which is actually the weapon the Sparda costume uses in Devil May Cry 1. It is a cool sword and I like how they handle it. That's the end of Fight 1. I called this video on a singular boss because the way I see it is more like 3 phases of a boss, but instead of fighting them one after another you have to wait 6 or 7 chapters to do it, because all the fight uses same basics. So, now we know the power of Vergil, we don't need more demonstrations, right? Wrong. After some bosses we encounter Beowulf, which is pretty hard. In fact Dante doesn't get to kill him, just to blind him and he escapes. A chapter later Beowulf encounters Vergil and confuses him with Dante.
You're not the one I faced before. But the smell, there are 2 of them. That excellent Sparta had 2 sons.
I love how Vergil times his sheaths. Because he is so fast he gets time to sink it when the flesh falls. So yeah, this is like the mini boss to show how strong he is. And wait. Until now it always looked like bosses were dropping weapons just for your convenience, but now they used that to make an inconvenience to you. It makes it feel like Dante and Vergil play under the same rules. Dante kills a boss and he gets a weapon and shows it off. Vergil kills a boss and gets a weapon and shows it off. Eventually you find Vergil and the intro with the music is so sick.
I'm sure you have time for one more game, right?
Why not? After all, we share the same blood. I'll just use more of yours to undo Daddy's little spell.
So, you want a piece of me, literally? Okay, bro. Come and get it, if you can.
You're not worthy as my opponent.
Come on, Nip.
Yep, this time Vergil got more than one weapon. Just like Dante has two weapons equipped and can swap between them, Vergil now has both the Yamato and Duel. This really strengthens the idea that Vergil fights on similar rules to you. It makes it feel like an equal fight. Of course, Vergil has way more health because Dante has a player behind him, but you get the point. The choice of weapon was also very smart. It's impossible not to notice the similarities of Beowulf and Ifrit, one of the two weapons of the first game. This means that if you play a DMC1 you should have an idea of how Vergil is going to attack. He's gonna try to hit you with a 4-hit combo and if he is in the air he will launch himself to you. The rules of the fight are the same of the first encounter, so there isn't much more to say.
You will not forget this devil's power. You're not worthy as my opponent.
Yep, this time there's no holding back. Vergil's Devil Trigger works exactly like Dante's. His attacks deal more damage, he moves quicker in every way, has better defenses, can't be staggered, and regenerates health. It will eventually deactivate, but as the battle progresses and especially in the third fight, he will stay in Devil Trigger for longer and longer, regenerating more and more health, and your bullets will not be enough to cancel the health regeneration. The only way to take him out of it is hitting them, but as he can't be staggered it is really dangerous, so the best way to do it is activate your Devil Trigger, because you can't be staggered and you move faster. It basically forces you in a subtle way to be at his level. Oh, and I didn't mention it in the first fight, but it is more prevalent here, but I love Vergil's voice line during this fight, especially in Devil Trigger. Take a listen.
Scum, this may be fun. Scum, you're not worthy as my opponent. You will not forget this devil's power. You're not worthy as my opponent. Rest in peace. Now I'm a little motivated. Scum, where's your motivation? Die. Cut off. You're going down. Come and get me. This is the power of Sparta. Dante.
10 out of 10, makes me feel motivated. Everything about this fight was very well considered. It is a fantastic fight. In my first playthrough I was actually able to beat him without items and it was epic. I wonder how they will top this. Before the fight you have to fight this thing. This fight is awful, sorry. His attacks are bland and blend with the creature itself and the background, but the part that really insults me is when he throws the dolphins at you. Who in the studio thought, oh yeah, this guy has the power of Sparta. Let's give him dolphins to fight. You can't deal damage to him in this part and the dolphins are really annoying. The best way to fight them is with Kalina, and I find it interesting that the best weapon to use in this fight is the weapon of his daughter, but in a game like Devil May Cry limiting your options it's not great. I didn't realize it in my first playthrough that this was the best weapon, so I really suffered it. And the dolphins are still stupid as a concept for this fight. In the second phase, Dante finds himself cornered, but Vergil gets here and the twins start fighting together. This could have been the redemption of the fight, but regretfully it isn't. First of all, because to call Vergil you need the circle or B button, so you can't use styles, and for some reason they don't let you use the devil trigger. Why can't they just use it at the same time? Vergil's AI is also very stupid if you don't call him, but he's very useful to keep yourself safe while he attacks. There's also this grab where you need to control Vergil for a few seconds, but it can be confusing and costs you a lot of life. This fight ends up being the worst in the game, and I am liking it more and more as I fight it, but it doesn't change its poor quality. But when it comes down to atmosphere and music, this fight is good. The song at first it's hopeless and scary. But when Vergil comes, it becomes epic and it has leitmotifs from Vergil's themes. It's almost heroic. You can also taunt Arkham with Vergil.
You scared?
And that final shot of Vergil and Dante is really epic.
Remember what we used to say? Jackpot.
It comes to show that despite their clashing ideals and personalities, deep inside they do like each other and make a really good team, which will only make the final battle more heartbreaking.
Give that to me.
No way. You got your own.
Well, I want yours too.
I find it funny that every time these two encounter they create a new meme.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness. Why isn't this working? Is there something missing? Must more blood be shed? Give that to me.
No way. You got your own.
Well, I want yours too.
Dante finally taking things seriously thanks to Lady is really satisfying.
We are the sons of Sparta. Within each of us flows his blood. But more importantly, his soul! And now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power.
The intro is also sick.
And we're supposed to be twins.
Twins. Right.
I mean, they are always good at this point, but this time the music is different. The first theme of Vergil is really electronic. It's great and epic. Then the second theme has a more serious vibe to it, less electronic but just as epic. and with a sad part. But the third theme is very different. It feels like something from a final fight in Star Wars. With tense parts. The sad part is far more prevalent. And it ends with an incredibly epic chorus. It makes it feel like a climax, otherwise someone could think this is just another fight, even if, well, that's unlikely. This fight is easily the hardest of the game. As I said, I had to use a yellow orb in the first one, then I did the second one with no items in less than 10 attempts, I think. I decided to do this one with no items, because respect, obviously, and it took me 3 hours, on normal. In the special edition. This fight is no joke. First of all, I want to talk about his weapon. The first time I saw the meme, I understood that this was the final boss, and I wasn't convinced by him using another weapon. It could be interpreted that he just lost because he didn't use his more common sword. He does that in the second fight, where he uses mostly Beowulf until less than half his health, when he realizes he's losing and starts using the Yamato as well. That worked perfectly for the second fight, but in a final fight it's better for the opponent to give absolutely everything. But if he used mostly the Yamato, it would feel stupid to give him another weapon. But he really uses both weapons equally. Sometimes he combines attacks, unlike with Beowulf, he doesn't abuse one weapon, and he still uses more the Yamato, so it feels like the Force Edge completes him instead of replacing anything. And just like Beowulf and Ifrit, it was smart to give him the Force Edge from DMC1. Just like in the second battle, you can predict attacks like where if you play a DMC1 you should know what he's going to do. Besides, since both Force Edge and Yamato were the swords Sparda used, I guess they combined really well. Vergil has some new moves. He can throw his sword like in the first game and you need to shoot it. He will teleport to the air and use Helm Break It followed by a Stinger, which is in my opinion his most dangerous attack. His Devil Trigger is also far more frequent and has a longer time, so you have to be aggressive, and he has some new attacks with Devil Trigger, like multiple handbreakers and his super ultra violet judgment cut. His arena is fantastic. Both of the other arenas are really good, but this one, two twins fighting to the death in a small river in hell with that thing, I don't know if it's a black hole or a black sun, it is really epic. This whole fight puts you to the very limit. It makes defeating Vergil here very well earned. I'll try not to forget the first time I defeated him after so many attempts with this much health in the end.
Dante. Am I being defeated?
Vergil can't even believe that he is losing, and then that final strike. And I love how he says that he wants the amulet because it was their father's, but if he wanted something like that, he would pick the Sword of Sparta. In reality, that amulet is something their mother gave them.
No one can have this, Dante. It's mine. It belongs to a son of Sparta. Leave me and go, if you don't want to be trapped in the demon world. I'm staying. This place was our father's home.
And he's gone. Dante tries to save him, but he's just too stubborn to understand. Matthew Matossi said something interesting in his Devil May Cry commentary, and is that a player can feel very well accomplished after beating a hard final boss, but ending it with an easy section means the player most definitely will not be end frustrated, and DMC3 does something like that. After Vergil you can play a very easy but epic section. It means you won't end it frustrated, although the Vergil fight is so fair I didn't feel frustrated in the slightest. One final mention, in Dante Must Die Vergil gains a few more moves. He gets the spiral swords from DMC1. I guess he doesn't use them in the game because Mundus gave those to him or something, but it is a very natural way of increasing the difficulty. If only I was good enough to play on Dante Must Die. Of course, Vergil isn't the best boss in history. Not all bosses go for the same thing. I doubt when From Software were designing Maiden Astrea they wanted to create something like Vergil, but the way they treated Vergil is nothing short of excellent. They took the best from previous games, and the fights, the atmosphere, the music, and the story are all great and very well put together, and there are so many details and things others might not have considered. This is why I believe Vergil is one of the best bosses in video games. Well, that's the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, consider subscribing. And check out some of my other videos, except the Plants vs Zombies one, please. Those videos were experimentations, they're not good. Please don't watch them. But yeah, the Dark Souls one has a terrible microphone. But whatever. Thank you for watching. If you share it, it will help me a lot because I'm pretty small right now. And yeah, that's it. See you next time.